Hey button pushers, my name is Nick and welcome to Don't Toy With Me. Now this is a visual novel, which I haven't done a visual novel in a while, so this should be interesting. I'm just going to read the synopsis of this because it sounds interesting and it looks really cool, like the art style looks amazing. For a long time now, Dahlia has lived by herself in the dollhouse with only the stuffed rabbit Whisker for company. One day, the owner of the toys decides to present her with a new companion. A sad clown puppet named Huxley. She's delighted for the company, but as the owner soon realises, it's not so simple to introduce a new friend to the household. What happens when you play favourites? Are you really in control of the dollhouse? Or are the toys about to get out of hand? So yeah, sounds pretty cool. Light spills through the tiny windows of the dollhouse, catching the flecks of dust in the air. Though it's early in the morning, the inhabitants have been awake for a while now. It's to be expected that toys wouldn't have quite the same grasp on time as you do. Whisker, you've hardly touched your tea. Her least of all. She's an antique. You can at least pretend to drink it since I went to the trouble of making it. The stuffed rabbit sits at the table, a frown on its embroidered face. It turns its head away from the cup in defiance. Jeez, you're so moody lately. I know it's not terribly fun to be stuck alone here with me, but you're not doing yourself any favours by being difficult. Don't you think we should be making the best of it? I really wish you'd let me cut you a mouth so you could try and hold a conversation. Oh, Whisker! The rabbit scurries off across the wooden floor and down the stairs. Dahlia sighs. Oh, it was only a suggestion. I'm not going to force you. I suppose that's another cup down the drain then. Dahlia gathers up the teacup and saucer from the floor to take down to the kitchen. Though Whisker has been in the house for a while with her now, he's always been terribly skittish. The kitchen holds the rest of the tea sets, always ready for a hypothetical tea party that thus far hadn't come to fruition. The rabbit wasn't about to sit at the table with her. Thinking back on it, she has trouble recalling who it was that used to sit there with her. You're listening right now, aren't you? I'm fairly certain I can hear you out there. Tap tap. The sound of large fingers gently tapping nails on the outside of the house answer her question. She smiles softly. There you are! Well, maybe you could join me. I'm not sure how you would fit in here with me, but I'd welcome you anyway. Perhaps you could let me outside. I would sit on the roof to be closer to you. You know better than to give her way on that. The cracks on her face tell the story of a previous excursion outside the house. She is met with silence. Her smile holds patiently, for all of 10 seconds. Fine, then I won't be entertaining you either. If the urge to be reasonable finds you, I'll be reading in my room. She storms out of the kitchen and upstairs. You decide to give her some time to cool off while you leave to run an errand. You have a feeling she'll lighten up when you retrieve your new purchase. The dollhouse is a little bit cleaner than it was this morning. Dahlia has spent some time dusting and picking up. She prefers her home spotless, or at least she used to. Now it seems she settles for clean enough, and she never bothers with the attic anymore. She idly straightens the decorations atop her wardrobe in her room. A heavy thump quickly undoes this. What? She turns, looking around in surprise. Hesitantly, she peers out of her bedroom door and down the stairs. Whisker is already in the foyer investigating. What is it? She descends the stairs, delicate joints clicking with each step. She finds the large box taking up the entryway. Oh my, a present? Her eyes light up with interest, running her fingers over the wooden exterior. There's a quirk to her brow when she realises it's cheap, compressed wood. Something new then? Whisker presses his ears to the side of the box. He hops back away when he hears a cough from inside, hiding behind Dahlia. What is it? She searches around the lid, unable to quite pull it up. She finally finds the hook on the other side and undoes it from the small peg that holds the lid shut. She practically throws the lid open, a bright smile on her face. Oh, Whisker, look! A new friend! Is he dead? I'm not dead. Oh, good. The clown in the box hangs limply while Dahlia drags him out of the box by his shirt. She's surprised to find he's mostly fabric with little structure underneath. His sleeves are half empty, tied at the seams with a ruffle. All in all, his head is solid, but his body is plush. Hello, new friend. My name is Dahlia, and this is my friend Whisker. The rabbit's ears lie back, looking none too friendly. He keeps his distance. I'm sorry for all the excitement. It's just been so long since we've had a new toy. Well, not had, obviously. We don't have you. What are you, actually? Oh, where on earth are my manners? What do you go by, friend? No, I don't go by friend. And I'm a puppet. My name is Huxley. Huxley? How nice. And a puppet. Why, that does explain it. Oh, let me take you to a chair. I shouldn't be holding you the whole time like a little bear. With Huxley comfortably situated in his chair at the table, Dahlia sits opposite him. She's all smiles, even though the clown looks so solemn. Here, have some tea. Oh, can you hold the cup? Have a silly straw. Oh, thanks. Despite the thanks, the clown doesn't make any move to drink the tea. Are you alright, Huxley? I don't expect you to be quite as excited as me, but you look so upset. I'm not upset, but what's there to be excited for? You've taken me out of the box, and here I am to sit in another box. The only difference is that I'm not the only one in this box. Aha! But that makes all the difference, doesn't it? I do enjoy watching Whisker, but he's not one for conversation. And now this won't be such a lonely place. What do you want to do? I'll show you that there's fun to have here. I don't want anything, thanks. Oh. Well, surely that isn't true. Everyone wants something. Do you want some quiet? We could lie on the floor and watch the star projector. If that's what you'd like to do. No, we're trying to find something you want to do. Do you want to tell jokes? You are a clown. If you'd like. Did you hear about the clown car that crashed out in the middle of nowhere? There were 30 casualties. I don't think I get that one. Okay, I'll try again. What do you get when you boil a clown? A laughing stock. Oh, that's funny. Clown soup. Bet it would have polka dots too. Oh, let me try. A clown named Pagliacci goes to see a therapist. Oh, darn it, I messed it up. You're a funny lady, Dahlia. Oh, you smiled. Oh, don't stop because I pointed it out. I'll start getting the idea you're determined to sulk. Sorry. I just haven't told any jokes in a while. No audience unless I get brought out just for that. So I stopped. What's the point? The point of telling jokes. The point of coming up with jokes if I only get to tell them when someone gives me the time of day. I don't like being a puppet. The only choice I get is to not participate. So I started doing that. Opting out. Oh, so you just don't do anything? Nothing I don't want to do. And I don't want to do much lately, so yeah, kind of. He looks uncomfortable at the direction of the conversation. It's clear he hasn't had to explain himself at length before, especially when so withdrawn from everything. Dahlia, on the other hand, is clearly mulling this idea over in her head. Huxley has some depression. Do you think you'd want to do more if you could get around better on your own? Since then you could go where you'd like and not have to wait for someone to bring you there. Well, that would make things easier for me. No offence, but I don't think I want you stitching anything onto me if that's what you're thinking. Why? Are you just assuming I'd be bad at it? I choose to keep my answer to myself. That wasn't what I was thinking about anyway. Wait here for just a moment. I'll try not to go anywhere. Dahlia leaves the kitchen, hurrying off back to the foyer. She stands near the box that Huxley arrived in and looks up, her gaze aimless as though she isn't quite sure of where to look. Hello up there? I imagine you're still watching, yes? Thank you for sending me a new friend. I know I've asked for one a lot, but I'm afraid I need to ask for something else. I'm sorry for asking so soon after receiving this gift, but it isn't for me, so I hope that might make up for it. So, do you think you could perhaps give me something to help Huxley move? Perhaps wheels? Or a wooden skeleton? Yes, I'll help. You suppose there couldn't be any harm in it? If the puppet is really so broken that it can't even keep her company, it doesn't do much good, does it? It will have to be a modification so simple that even the toys can figure it out, though. You have an idea. Surely with only a single item to work with, she'll understand what needs to be done. You place your gift in the box Huxley had arrived in. Dahlia looks on in surprise as she sees a large spring in the box. Oh! Yes, this is perfect! Thank you so much! She eagerly plucks her prize from the container, needing both hands to carry it. It's as long as her legs at the very least. Seeing as it's a bit unwieldy, perhaps it isn't the best idea to bring it near the tea set. She ends up leaving it behind and fetching Huxley instead. It takes the pair a few minutes to figure out the logistics of the attachment, but in the end, it's sewn securely to the opening of Huxley's body. He takes a moment to get used to balancing on the spring. This certainly is different. I think I'm getting the hang of it though. The stairs are going to take some practice. That's what the railing's for, at least until you get better at jumping. Perhaps soon you'll be able to leap from the landing to the upper doorway in one go. She laughs at the idea, but he seems to be very seriously considering it. Perhaps so. Everything else is upstairs, right? What about the back room? More stairs, unfortunately. That's the doorway to the attic. And what's up there? More stairs? Well, the ceiling's silly. And some old odds and ends. Some things just don't really have a place in this house. But they still have to go somewhere. Perhaps we could eventually convert it into a bedroom for you. Your cruelty knows no bounds, Lady Dahlia. Making a man able to jump, then putting him in a room with a low ceiling. Oh, I didn't mean... No, I'm only teasing you. For someone who kept wanting me to lighten up, you sure aren't good at recognising a joke. Oh, don't tease me. But I'm happy to see you're in much better spirits. I am. I've never had something like this. Though, is this really okay? What do you mean? Nothing. I didn't like being a puppet, so I don't know why I should feel odd about becoming something else. Like a Jack-in-the-Box? I would never. I mean to say, I'm not getting back in that box. Oh, of course not. But you have to sleep somewhere. And I suppose the box can stay here in the foyer. You can make it into a table or use it as a chest. I just don't want to have to carry it up to the attic. Whatever you want to do with it, it's not mine. But yeah, I guess this makes me a Jack out of the box. Which I'd also never do. Dahlia tilts her head in confusion once more. Huxley spares her any explanation of the joke. I'm actually feeling a little fidgety now. I think I want to give the stairs a try. Will you show me the rest of the house if I make it up? Of course, and if you can't, I'll carry you up. I'll make it up, even if I have to drag myself. Just, maybe go stand out of the way, just in case? With some time and effort, and a couple of paintings knocked off the wall, Huxley manages to make his way up the stairs. Dahlia feels perhaps a few new cracks were added to her face from the worry from when she watched him twice spill backwards down the stairs. Luckily, the clown wasn't as delicate as she was. He bounced like rubber. Perhaps that's what he was made of. The thought remains in her mind that she'll have to remind her new friend that she is much more fragile than he is, but for now, she hurries up after him to congratulate him and show him around the upper floor. The linen closet isn't exactly a room, but it's important to show regardless. The bathroom is of slightly more importance, of course, though perhaps less important than it would have been in a real house. Huxley notes a lingering smell of paint and powders in the bathroom. It must be where Dahlia touches up her face. And lastly, Dahlia brings him to her bedroom. I don't think I've ever had anyone in here before. Well, aside from Whisker. You don't think so? Where is that little guy anyway? Kind of expected him to join us for the tour. Oh, don't mind him. He's so jumpy these days. I couldn't even tell you why. Perhaps he's less confident without other plush animals around. Did there used to be more? I can't seem to recall. I feel like there's something potentially sinister happening. I don't fully trust Dahlia. I know I knew a teddy bear once. Perhaps he was a friend of Whisker's. She frowns, brows furrowed in concentration. Huxley watches on with concern. Is remembering things a regular problem for you, Dahlia? Oh, in a sense, I suppose it is. Very little changes in this house, so the days tend to blend together. If I have trouble remembering something, I'd be hard-pressed to know whether it's due to forgetfulness or because it happened longer ago than I realised. I've recently started writing in my journal again though, so that should help with the more recent days. I wasn't sure where it was for a while, so I'll have to really make good use of it now that I have it again. Yeah? Sounds like a plan. And if I get curious, I could always read up on what I've missed before I got here. Absolutely not. I keep it locked so you couldn't even if you wanted to. Just another joke, Dahlia. I wouldn't read your diary. You better not. Now, what was I going to show you in here? Oh, I wanted to show you here in my wardrobe. I keep my dresses here, but it's full of many games as well. You can feel free to help yourself to any of them if you find yourself looking for something to play. I have my bookcase in here as well. I have all the classics. Pride and Prejudice, Little Princess, Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tale collection. Quite the collection, Dahlia. Are you teasing me again? No, they're just, very you, huh? Except this one. The complete short stories of Edgar Allan Poe. A little bit of a gothic at heart, are you? I did say I love the classics. What about you, Mr. Know-It-All? You're making yourself sound rather well read. I've just heard my share of bedtime stories in my day. And the others I've heard a little of in homework form. Ugh. I have to say, it hasn't made me the most bookish kind of guy. Except maybe joke books. Well, in your words, that's very you. There's no shame in it, but I warn you that you will eventually want to do some reading. Beggars can't be choosers for entertainment in this house. Though I'd be happy to read to you. I can see it now. I'll let you know if I have trouble falling asleep here, then maybe I could use it. It's refreshing to see Dahlia looking so lively again after so much time spent by herself in the dollhouse. She's had her problems in the past getting along with other toys, but the clown seems to be a good choice. Entertaining as a jester should be, but not so energetic that he would impose upon her lifestyle. She considers herself to be an elegant lady after all, and some wild fool would certainly find themselves met with friction when it came to living with her. Hopefully they continue to get along. In the following days, they seem to adjust well enough. They play their games and have their tea together, and even Whisker seems to be more at ease with Huxley there. It's a point of concern in some ways. Hopefully the rabbit doesn't come to be too affectionate with the clown. But for now, it's happy days within the dollhouse. You find yourself watching them regularly. Today, they've gathered in the attic to improve Huxley's sleeping area. I'm sorry we don't have a better place to keep a lot of these things, though. I'm happy the bed is finally getting some use. That's not too bad. The spiders have been keeping me company at night. Spiders? Well, probably just little mites. I have wondered about some of the things you keep up here, though. Don't just change the subject after mentioning spiders. Are there really spiders up here? No, I was only joking, Dahlia. Ugh, you'd better be. Horrible creatures. Now, what were you wondering about? Well, I noticed some of these things seem out of place here. The paintings, sure, they make sense for you to have them. But there are some old brass knickknacks in here that just don't look like any of your other stuff. Like this big brass horse head. It's a knight, but you are right, it doesn't look familiar. And there's some old clothing up here. Oh? I really haven't cleaned up here in some time, but I didn't think there was anything but spare decor items. What sort of clothing is it? Well, I found some bow ties, like the formal kind, not my ribbon. And no offence to our dearest Lady Dahlia, but they wouldn't really suit you. Do they belong to Whisker? No, Whisker doesn't really have many belongings to speak of. Whisker shakes his head to confirm this. He only has this little bed in my room and a few little toys of his own. Though half the time he seems to prefer playing with balled up paper more than the things I make for him. One doll's trash is a rabbit's treasure. I'm almost certain that's not how that phrase goes. Well, in any case, they seem like men's clothes to me. Though I did see some old hairbrushes and things as well. Not ones that match your sets though. Do you think some of this was left from whoever lived in the house before? I suppose that's possible, though it seems stranger for me that the owner wouldn't remove such things before placing me here. Well, maybe the owner hoped for a more masculine doll. I'm sure I'm exactly what they were hoping for. They've had me for a long time after all. Well, the owner doesn't seem to be interested in doing much to your home regardless, so maybe they just didn't bother with this. Or they're using your storage for their extra things. Oh, I hadn't considered that. And they get quite quiet at times, but that doesn't mean they lack interest. They love me. And I love them too. Oh, you two should get a room then. Or I guess a house. Oh hush, there's no need to be jealous, Huxley. I'm sure that they love you too. You wouldn't be living here if they didn't find something appealing about you. Must have been my sparkling personality then. Perhaps it was. Right. Well, I don't have any doubts that they're just tossing me in here for your sake if they really love you so much. How do you mean? Well, you have told me a few times just how lonely it is here without someone to have conversations with. And here I am. Well, I am happy that you're here, but I doubt it's just for me. It's all the same to me. So long as they leave me be, I'm just fine. Oh, that's just silly, Huxley. I know you'd enjoy their attention if you got it. I doubt it. Such a sourpuss. I suppose we'll find out the next time they do decide to check in on us regardless. I'll be holding my breath till then. The conversation comes to a stop as the pair go back to cleaning, but it leaves you with some thinking to do. It has been a little time since you initially purchased the clown, so you've had a little time to get to know more about him. More so than you could have known taking him off the shelf. At this point... Ooh, okay. Huxley is winning me over because he has some depression going on there, and I relate. It would be a lie to say the clown wasn't growing on you. Though, at first, you did only bring him to the dollhouse in order to provide Dahlia with some company, he's a funny little guy in his own right. Even if it's not always through his jokes. You'll have to start thinking of some ways to make him feel more welcome in the house now that you know Dahlia will be able to get along with him. Things are fairly peaceful in the dollhouse for some time after. You check on the toys from time to time, a little more frequently than you would when it was only Dahlia and Whisker in the house. It's more active than it has been in some time, so there's more to see going on. You decide you'll be adding some new things for them from time to time to keep up this level of activity. Try that piece in the bottom right there. Whisker leans forward against the table to move one of the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. His little paw nudges it carefully down to fit within its place. Ooh, okay, that's part of the red costume. That's why the colour was so difficult. Oh, what are you two up to in here? Hey, Dahlia. Whisker was just helping me with this puzzle. I tried by myself, but you know me, butterfingers. Huxley says this as he extends one of his digitless stump arms before lowering it again. Oh yeah, I see. I really enjoy puzzles too. Though you should have told me, I would have been happy to help. You were reading, so I didn't want to bother you about it. Plus, I think Whisker likes puzzles. The rabbit perks up at this, confirming the statement. Dahlia's demeanour changes at this. Something about this is bothering her. Whisker never wanted to do puzzles with me. He never wants to sit on my lap like that either. Actually, where did you get this? I don't remember seeing this puzzle before. You haven't? I found it in the foyer today. I assumed you left it out. I don't leave my things lying around. I must be new. How odd. The owner always brings new gifts to my attention. I guess it was for me then. I don't think it's much your style anyway. Dahlia moves a little closer to the table to look at the illustration of the puzzles box. It features a group of circus performers putting on a show in front of a drably dressed audience. Their costumes are bright and colourful against the muted background. The only full character in the picture they've put together so far is the mustachioed clown in the striped tights. Yeah, I suppose it would have been for you then. Something wrong, Dahlia? You can still put it together with us. Well, not wrong exactly, but was this the only thing in the foyer? Yeah, I didn't see anything else out of place. Well, you two enjoy your puzzle then, I suppose. I have other things to do. What's up with her, Whisker? You think she's mad at me? I hate guessing games like this. I guess I'll just ask her about it later. Dahlia makes her way up to the attic and knocks on the ceiling of the house. Are you up there? I know you had to be here earlier. Tap tap. I thought so. That was awfully mean of you earlier, you know. Leaving Huxley a gift and nothing for me. Now that you have a new toy here, you're just going to leave me to gather dust. She's being so melodramatic, but you did somewhat expect this from her. She's never taken well to having to share attention. Though you're a little surprised she already noticed you giving him attention over a single small gift. He didn't even thank you or give you credit for it, so it's not as though he's going to be seeking your attention out because of a puzzle. Well, since you don't plan on answering me, you should know I'm feeling very cross with you about this. Between leaving me alone in here for so long and then immediately turning your attention to your new friend, I'm feeling very replaced. So I expect you to do something to make this up for me. Up to me. A fragile body and a fragile heart. The porcelain drama queen exits the attic. You might consider getting her something as well to cheer her up. But at the same time, you don't want to encourage her to indulge in such dramatics every time you do something with Huxley. And you know she'll catch on if you make it a pattern. For now, though, you'll just have to ignore this outburst. You leave the dollhouse alone for the rest of the day. Almost the music just stopped completely. Weird. The next morning, you decide to check on the group around breakfast time. Luckily, it looks like everyone's relaxed again, and they're all spending time together. There we go. Okay, so it's a quiche. Quiche, Huxley. Quiche. Are you paying attention? You look ready to fall asleep. Oh, I never get up this early. My head feels empty and my body feels boneless. You don't have bones. And I'm not sure if your head is empty or not, actually. Do you have glass eyes like mine? Wait, you're distracting me. I'm trying to give instructions. Sorry, Lady Dahlia. Please continue. Well, I was going to have you dice the vegetables for the quiche, but I'd rather not have you holding a knife while you're so tired. Why don't you go mix up the eggs for me instead? I'll measure out the other ingredients for you to mix in and you'll just have to man the mixer. Aye aye, chef. Easier for me. I'm a klutz with a knife anyway. Alright. Butterfingers. Did she take that seriously? The group gets to work on their complex breakfast dish. Dahlia works efficiently as she dices up their various vegetables into little cubes that will suit the size of the dish. She occasionally moves to check on Huxley's progress, but he seems to have things handled. Whisker hangs on to the clown's back, watching the mixture churning in the bowl and occasionally moving the lever switch when Huxley asks him to. As you watch, you start to notice how much Dahlia looks over their way, a small frown on her face. Whisker catches her eye at one point and looks away. She turns her gaze down to her cutting board. By the time everything is put together to go into the oven, she's on edge. She excuses herself from the kitchen, asking Huxley to set the timer for her on her way out. He heads to the foyer. Stepping into the foyer, Dahlia spots a handful of items on the box-turned table that Huxley arrived in. A couple of coloured balls, some silk handkerchief squares, also colourful, some oversized playing cards, nothing she'd really be interested in. But there is one particularly ornate item in the group. She approaches it and picks it up. Oh, what a cute little cane. I usually prefer parasols, but this is nice. Ah! As she turns the wooden cane over in her hands, she observes the metal handle at the top. It's fairly textured, made to be easy to grab even without wrapping fingers all the way around it. The flat top holds a little painted disc, painstakingly etched with a decorative H. Your work is detailed, even when working with such small materials. You were very particular in making this gift. Oh, she mad. The handcrafted cane lies splintered in half on the ground. Whoa! What was that? Nothing. Didn't I tell you to wait in the kitchen? So, I don't have to. And I was worried. You were acting weird. Are those for me? Dahlia kicks the handle end of the broken cane behind her with her heel. Probably. Looks like all of it's for you. Whisker skitters across the floor to Huxley's side, carrying the cane handle in his paws. His little plush steps went unnoticed by the larger toys in the room. Huxley takes the cane and looks to see what Dahlia's hiding. Jeez, Dahlia, what's your problem? Seriously, what did I even do? It's not you. I'm just upset with the owner right now. I was really angry, and I just picked up the cane. I was so mad, I just hit it against the box without thinking, and it broke. It was an accident. Bull. You didn't break anything else. You only broke something that was for me. Huxley, are you crying? No. I honestly didn't think it would mean so much to you. It's just a cane. It was made for me. Nobody's ever made something just for me. You have so much, but you want to take away what I've got too. It was an accident. You already admitted you thought about it. That's enough. You're very upset with Dahlia for this, and you can see Huxley's getting pretty worked up. Best to separate them for now, and put Dahlia where you don't have to look at her for a little while. But... You put Dahlia away in her room and lock the door. Huxley, who was already upset by this turn of events, is terrified at seeing your hand enter the dollhouse so suddenly. There isn't much else you can do but leave him alone to calm down. Dahlia pounds on the door of her room. You can hear her voice cracking as she cries at you, threatens you, says whatever she can think of to be absolved of any guilt. She just doesn't want to take responsibility for what she did. You decide to leave her in there until you're feeling less upset about what happened. Whenever that happens to be. For now, though, you decide to focus on making a new gift for Huxley. You hadn't expected him to be so sentimental over it. But knowing now that it's so meaningful to him, you're newly motivated to make something for him that he'll enjoy. If he's willing to accept something like that from you, even with his fear of your physical presence, it's a good first foot in the door to actually bonding with the clown. But what do you make? I'm going to remake the cane. Right, the cane really meant a lot to him. You originally thought of it as a convenience item to help him reach things around the house that were difficult for him without hands. But you wanted it to be personal for him as well, hence the elaborate customization. While not the most beautiful miniature you've ever crafted for the house, as a first for him, it still holds some meaning. You decide to clear the remains of the old one once everyone's asleep. Then you'll make it new. Over the next couple of days, you leave the dollhouse alone to work diligently on the cane for Huxley. You imagine that he would like some time without you looming over the house after what happened before. However, you know that before you can present him with the cane, you'll have to try to get things back to normal within the house. It's time to check on Dahlia. You find her lying on her bed, completely despondent. She's fully dressed, though you can't be sure whether that means she's been getting up every day to get ready or just hasn't changed into her pyjamas since you put her in here. You unlock the door with a click. She is immediately alert. "Oh, you're back. I thought maybe you were going to leave me in here forever. I'm sorry for acting out before. I shouldn't have destroyed something that you made." Well, this is a surprise. But you doubt she'll learn much from this, even if she's trying to make it up to you now. You should consider my feelings too, though. It's not about the gifts specifically. You know that, don't you? Oh boy. You aren't sure what to do in response to this. She looks ready to burst into tears, and you're still pretty cross with her. It doesn't negate your suspicion she's only trying to get your sympathy, so you'll forgive her for acting out. She looks up and around the room expectantly. When nothing happens, she slowly sinks. "I see. You don't want to talk about it right now. That's fine. It's fine. I should go let Huxley and Whisker know I'm out again. And I suppose talk to Huxley about this. I love you. Please talk to me soon." She anxiously hurries out the room, her posture stiff and her expression full of worry. Just in case, you stick around to listen in on her and Huxley. You find the conversation already in progress, but their voices are low and hard to hear. Perhaps Dahlia didn't want you to listen in. "I just worry that that's the direction this is going. I don't remember it clearly, but I do have mentions in my journal. I don't think it's out of the question that replacement is what they have in mind." Well, I don't know them very well, so I couldn't say that, but when I got here, you tried very hard to tell me how much you trusted them on stuff. Plus, don't you think that's kind of an overreaction to a few gifts for me? This house is already full of stuff for you. It's just common sense that more things would be added for me to balance it out. You just don't get it. My bond with them is special, so I can tell when they're pulling away. Well, so what then? So what? Yeah, I mean, they put me in here for you, didn't they? It's not like you'd be alone even if they did decide to focus their attention on me. Well, that's not the same. Oh? Ugh, I'm not trying to say I don't like you, Huxley. I like you a lot. You're my friend. But the owner, there's something else different entirely. My friendship with you makes me happy, but you don't give my life purpose. Well, nobody can do that for you, Dahlia. I know you think you're made for them, but here's the thing. You have no purpose. Nobody does. Nobody can give you one. That's the awful truth. You have to get by in life by your own will. Or you just spin your wheels like I was when I just gave up. It's your own choice. There's no pressure to live for someone else, but there's no drive outside of your own wants. And that's difficult, but it is what it is. But that can't possibly be right. And how would you know anyway? You spent your whole life just moping around hating what you are. Just because you lack any purpose doesn't mean I do too. I should have known better than to confide in you. You don't get it because you've never been anyone's favourite. Well, I'm Whisker's favourite. Ugh. For the second time in just a few minutes, Dahlia storms out of the room, though this time it's clear she's angrier than she is upset. But at the very least, Huxley stood his ground this time. Dahlia looks like she's going to go sulk over tea in the kitchen, so you feel safe in leaving them alone while you go back to work. As long as she isn't at his throat, she can be as mad as she likes. I'm really worried that Dahlia's going to do something awful at some point. Oh wow! Today you finished your cane for Huxley. Rather than draw attention to it, you left it in the foyer for him to find. You're excited to see his reaction. He carefully picks up the cane. It's not a perfect recreation, but one you took a little bit more time with. Tiny relief carvings spiral down the cane. They aren't detailed since scale is a difficult factor for you, but they were chosen with care. Stars and simple comedy and tragedy masks are the main motif you chose. The masks feature prominently on the metal handle as well. It's certainly more ornate than before. But you used the same H initialed medallion as before as the inlay. A careful reconstruction of the original gift with a little extra love put into it to make up for the loss of the first. He holds it with his arms, standing there in quiet thought before he breaks the silence. You're probably around, right? Right, there you are. I've just realised I don't really know how to talk to you. Especially since I've been avoiding you. You had to have noticed that. Sorry about that, and thanks for this. I really didn't think you'd care about me at all, since it had been pretty easy for you to just think of me as some object for your entertainment. But you surprised me. Don't think I'll be dressing up all swanky to match this thing, though. It'll be for knocking stuff off shelves and helping me up the stairs, and that's it. Dahlia steps down the stairs, frowning as she looks at the conspicuous cane in the foyer. Huxley's initial joviality clears right up at seeing how she's looking at it. Ah, that's the cane. I suppose I should keep my distance then. What do you mean? It's not like you break it a second time. I told you that was an accident. You're still trying that, huh? I guess I didn't mean to imply you wouldn't break it again out of the goodness of your heart anyway. You only wouldn't break it because you got in trouble for it the first time. And I suppose you had the time of your life with me locked away in there, didn't you? Not having to deal with me encroaching on your time with Whisker or the owner. Perhaps I should worry about how you might think of ways to get rid of me for longer than that. Oh, you're just trying to get a rise out of me. How so? It's the truth. Unless you think everything I do to be about you. I am the only one who hasn't been acting that way over you after all, so I would understand your confusion. Why are you so jealous of me? Jealous? There's nothing to be jealous of. The owner's only giving you attention because you're a novelty. You're new, and they'll get bored of you. Shut up! And even if they do, whatever. Whisker's my friend. I thought you were too, but whatever. One is plenty for me. At least he cares about me. You never care about anyone but yourself. Whisker quietly enters the room, having heard the commotion and his name being used. He looks especially worried. That's not true. I care about the owner, or else this wouldn't even matter to me, because they care about me too. Oh yeah? Then what happened to what you said before, about their silence being fine with you? They can ignore you all they want as long as they aren't giving attention to anyone else. You're not sure at all whether they care about you. You're worried you're just a toy to them, because you put all your worth into getting their approval. You make yourself miserable, Dahlia, so stop coming up with ways to blame me for that. Neither of us control what they do. Neither of us can know for sure how they feel. Neither of us can guarantee we're more than just possessions for them. So it's pointless. You don't want to be my friend, just leave me alone. You sit in silence for a moment. Is that really how he feels about you? Even after you went out of your way to make him feel welcome? He's right about Dahlia's insecurity, but maybe he's the same. Maybe he just can't trust you. You don't like it, but it's hard to completely disregard his point of view. You aren't in the same position at all, and he knows it. Surely he realises how long you've dealt with Dahlia and her dramatics, though. If you threw out toys every time they were difficult with you, you wouldn't have any. Dahlia returns from the kitchen. Huxley. What do you want, Dahlia? You really don't understand a thing. You ruined everything. Don't you get it? Dahlia? Dahlia holds a kitchen knife in her hand. I was wrong. I can admit that. Wanting friends was wrong. It should have been just us. Even Whisker doesn't need to be here. Oh, Dahlia. Whisker is quick to flee. He bumps into the box, knocking the lid open. He uses it for cover. Well, you're acting nuts. If you want the cane so bad, just take it. I just won't have anything. It's better than whatever this is. I don't want the stupid cane. I just want things to be like they were. Dahlia, please, you're scaring me. You begin to reach in for Dahlia, but she lunges before you get even close. You're doing it on purpose. Going on and on about how it doesn't matter to you, about how you aren't even trying. It just comes so easy to you, doesn't it? While I worry and try and actually care about what happens, you just mope until everything gets handed to you. I'm not. Please, I'll just go. I'll ask them to take me out of here. That's not good enough. I need to know that you won't come back. Oh! Dahlia! Oh, Dahlia. Oh no. With the knife swinging, there isn't much you can do but wait. He stopped moving early into the attack. She even tore out his spring and tossed it across the room. Not that he'd been able to use it to get away. Oh god. He's barely recognisable as the puppet you chose by the time she stands up over him. His rubber head was split right up the middle, and now lay splayed on the ground like opened butterfly wings. It's like each half of his face is a mask, each displaying a different emotion held in his final moments. His lining is shredded and stuffing tossed every which way. He's beyond salvaging. Whisker, you weren't always so bad, so I'm sorry about this. Oh, poor Whisker! You step away from the dollhouse. How did things go so wrong so quickly? You need to find something to put Dahlia in. You can't leave her in there, but you don't want to pick her up while she's acting like this. The knife is the size of an X-Acto blade to you, but you don't doubt she would stick it right through your hand if you gave it the chance, assuming she didn't go for a vein instead. You find the jar that should be about the right size and grab a large paintbrush to shove her into it with, and return to the dollhouse. But you're met with a burning smell and the sight of smoke exiting the windows. You find Dahlia sitting in the attic. In the brief time you were away, she set the room ablaze. You can smell some sort of accelerant. It makes you wonder if she put some thought into this before, about what she would do. It occurs to you to attempt to scoop her into the jar, but the fire is already creeping up the sides of her dress, of her hair. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. I'm gonna leave her. Huxley was right in a way. She's in a hell of her own making. And never has it been so clear as now when you see her being taken by the flames. Cracks form from the heat, and her clothes and hair burn away. You look away. You start to think there was never a possibility of either of you being happy in this arrangement. It's both a punishment and a mercy to let her burn. You leave to grab a pitcher of water for the fire. To scale, it's small and fairly contained. The only damage is to the dollhouse. Still, you move your paint thinners and repair supplies off the table and spritz down the surface with water to catch any stray embers. And you wait. You don't put out the fire until you're sure she's been reduced to nothing more than porcelain debris. You take some responsibility for this situation. After all, it was your dollhouse. You were in charge of it. But things were clearly beyond redemption. You're not sure when you'll be up to it, but you'll just have to start over fresh. A new home. Maybe new toys. And you'll be sure your control is known to be undefiable, so that this never happens again. The doll maker. The monster maker. Man, that was so good. That was so good. So there are 4 endings from the game description. So there's it says 2 branching paths, each with 2 endings. So obviously the alternative ending for that one would have been to save her. And I'm guessing the branching pathway was from when I chose which one was my favourite, and then it probably would have ended up maybe flipped on its head so Huxley goes mad. Don't know. But I've been recording for an hour, so I'm not gonna have time to go through them now. But this was so good. Really well fleshed out, like, character design. The animation was great. The writing was incredible. The pain of Dahlia was like, she was a drama king. She was being dramatic, but at the same time, it's been just her for so long that the jealousy is understandable to an extent. Not to the extent of like murder, but her like levels of jealousy were understandable. But this was really good. If you want to see some of the other endings, let me know. Leave me a comment and we can run through another video and see what else it has in store. But yeah, so good. So, if you want to check this out for yourself, then the link to the game page is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then why don't you go ahead, the like button, the jealous stab murderer that is the subscribe button. Make sure you... that bad boy. And until next time, love you, bye.